Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into a really fascinating hypothetical cricket match.
Oh, yeah. Who have we got?
It's a big one. We've got this text here, just labeled pasted text, but it paints a picture of a legendary showdown. Shane Warne versus Sir Garfield Sobers.
Wow. Okay. Warne versus Sobers. That's quite the matchup.
Yeah.
Different eras, different skills.
Exactly. And our mission, really, for everyone listening, is to kind of unpack what made these guys legends and see who this analysis thinks would actually, come out on top.
Right. So it's like a shortcut to understanding their unique genius by seeing them pitted against each other, at least in this writer's imagination.
Precisely. So let's start with Warne. The text calls him the magician of leg spin. Over 700 test wickets. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves.
They really do. And this text highlights his deception, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The flight, the guile, that massive turn he got.
Yeah, that sharp turn baffled so many batsmen.
And mental toughness, too. It mentions his accuracy being relentless. You need that as a spinner, that constant pressure.
Definitely. But, no player is perfect. The text does hint at a potential issue for Warne, specifically against left-handers. Why is that often a thing for leg spinners?
Well, think about the angle. For a right-arm leggy like Warne, the ball spins away from a right-hander. Tough angle.
Right.
For a left-hander, that same spin brings the ball back into them, into their hitting zone sometimes.
Ah, okay. So potentially easier to line up and attack.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
It can negate some of that natural drift and turn away, you see. Makes the batsman's job maybe a little bit simpler.
Which naturally brings us to Sir Garfield Sobers. The text labels him the ultimate all-rounder, the most complete cricketer. Hard to argue with that title.
You really can't. He was just extraordinary. This text points to his batting elegance, power, adaptability.
That adaptability seems key here, especially facing someone like Warne. And crucially, Sobers was a left-hander.
Exactly. So you have Warren's potential challenge bowling to lefties, meeting arguably the greatest left-handed batsman ever. Plus, Sobers wasn't just a batsman.
No way! Bold pace, bold spin, incredible fielder. The complete package.
The absolute complete package. So yeah, the text describes him as having elegance, power, composure. Adaptable against everything. Pace, spin, didn't matter much to Sobers.
So let's picture this duel unfolding. The text suggests Warne would be, probing, setting traps with his variations.
Yeah, trying to outthink him, draw him into a mistake. Classic Warne.
While Sobers is described as reading the situation, resisting, and then retaliating. Watchful, but ready to punish.
That sounds right. Sobers had that technical mastery and that calm presence. You wouldn't easily intimidate him. He could soak up the pressure.
And then bang, hit you for 4.
Precisely. He'd wait for the slightly loose ball and then just punish it. The text mentions his majestic calm and punishing precision. That sums it up well.
Of course, it's cricket. One ball, one brilliant catch, one moment of magic. It can all change. The text acknowledges that.
Absolutely. You can never be certain in a one-on-one contest like this. So much depends on the day, the pitch, the specific moment.
But based purely on this analysis, this pasted text, what's the predicted verdict? Who takes it?
Well, the text leans towards Sobers. It suggests that, Warne, being the genius he was, might definitely trouble him, maybe pick up his wicket sometimes.
You expect him to.
You would. But overall, it feels Sobers' sheer batting class, his adaptability, and that left-hander advantage would likely see him win the battle more often than not.
It concludes skill, class, and power prevails, favoring Sobers.
That's the line, yeah. It's essentially saying that Sobers' all-round mastery, particularly his batting against spin, gives him the edge in this specific contest.
Okay, so for everyone listening, let's crystallize the takeaways from this hypothetical clash. What should we remember?
I think, first, it's a great illustration of specialist genius versus all-round brilliance. Warne's mastery of one incredibly difficult skill against Sobers' command over basically all aspects of the game.
Yeah, 2 different peaks of cricketing excellence.
Exactly. Second, it shows how specific matchups matter. That left-hander versus leg spinner dynamic is a really key factor in this prediction.
Right, a potential weakness exploited by a specific strength.
And finally, it just underlines Sobers' incredible versatility and adaptability. Why he's often called the most complete cricketer ever. It wasn't just one thing, it was everything.
A really compelling thought experiment based on this text. So, a final thought for our listeners. How might different conditions, say a spinning track versus a flat one, or even a different format like P20, change this equation?
Good question. Or what other legendary head-to-heads would be fascinating to break down like this? Plenty to think about there.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.